Hello and welcome to Random Adventure in our continuing exploration of the islands of the Pacific Ocean. Today, we are just north of the U.S. territory of Guam in the Commonwealth of Northern Marianas Islands. We are on the island of Rota and diving just off the Wedding Cake Conservation Area at Rota Hole. Come and join, as it's going to be enlightening and you might be transported to paradise. For those that may be wondering, future editing us would like to inform you that this was in fact a successful trip to Rota Hole. And so with that, we will begin our second dive on day 3. Our first dive of the day was at the Sean Maru, a shipwreck from World War II, and we have come back to the eastern boat landing in order to get tanks and take a short break before heading south. Rota Hole is also known as Senhanon Cave or Cavern and is located at the far southern point of Rota Island in the Wedding Cake Conservation Area. This area is a very steep cliff line of exposed rock, and the wave action has created an underwater cavern. That cavern has a small break at the top that during certain hours of the day allows light to shoot down in a solid ray that is very different from the darkness around. This creates an effect that is like a transporter in Star Trek, or has also been known as the light of God. And so it is a very neat and unique experience, and in just a minute we will show you what it looks like. The southernmost point of Rota Island obviously has a lot of current as it is exposed. Some days you will need to drift into the cavern and then drift back out. We had moderate current, and so we were able to drop in and use the mooring line in order to get down to the cave. Their entrance is through a canyon, which we are following right here, and that leads into the larger cavern area. Once you are out of the canyon and into the cavern, it is rather dark. You can actually look back and see how blue the outside looks in the light comparison. Would definitely recommend that you bring flashlights as you explore, and there are some boulders and other things that you'll need to move around. There is a large boulder in the center that seems to have fallen from the ceiling, perhaps from the light hole, that you can go behind, and it is extremely dark, and there are some dark adapted fish back there to explore. In order for the light ray to occur, a number of things need to come into alignment, the largest of which is the sun. The sun needs to be both at the correct angle and unobstructed. Any clouds that are in the sky will cause a diffusion of the light, and you will not have a strong enough light to shoot through the cavern's roof and then through the water. And so you end up with a diffuse light. Here you can see a diffuse light that was a little bit too early. The second thing that you need is the correct angle. So this will change depending on the season and the axis of the earth, but for us it was about between 9:30 and 9:50 in the morning. As we were a little early and the light ray had not quite yet formed, and we had some clouds that were continuing to go across the sky and diffuse the light, we explored the cavern using our flashlights while we waited for the light to occur. As you can see here, we're starting to get some diffuse light. You can tell that the clouds had moved away, but the angle was not right, as you have a wide focus light. This continued to improve as the time went on, and you ended up with this really nice light here, but this was a little bit too close to get the correct effect. So with the light in a good position, we went ahead and tried to do a group portrait. However, a cloud came across the sky as we were doing it, so this ended up much darker than we expected, and I had to use a side light in order to get us all. Just as soon as we had finished trying to take that family photo, the cloud passed and we started to get amazing light. Here you can see that the optimum hour was very, very close, and you're starting to get extreme definition between the light and the dark as it shoots down. There is definitely an optimum range depending on what type of photo you are trying to take. The farther away you get, the much darker blacks on the edges, whereas when you move close, you get a lot more definition on the individual. However, that individual is a little blind because of how bright it is, and it is often hard for them to stay centered in the beam, and so it may take a couple times, and you may need to be patient with clouds going by. The other unique thing is that there is this color changing soft coral at the exit to the cavern, and you should definitely take the time to come along and touch it and watch it change. This is a lot of fun and very interactive. I wish that we had seen this coral before somewhere, but it was unique to this location as far as I am aware. Leaving the cavern is a bit of an experience, as you can definitely see the difference between light and dark, and your eyes will have to adapt. As you do, you can come out and do your safety stop on the way to the mooring line. If there is high current, just be aware that you may need to drift and be picked up by a boat. Otherwise, it is easy to come to the surface about 50 feet away from the cliff line and be back on your boat. This completes our last dive of day 3 and our last dive for the dive trip. We hope that you've joined us for each of the 8 dive videos that we have done, and we have one more video coming for the overview of the entire Rota Island experience and for things that are not diving. Overall, we enjoyed Rota. We liked this dive. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next one.